And next on 207, she has spent years on a windjammer, and Ellen Barnes has a lot of stories plus recipes to share. She'll give us a sample of what's in her new cookbook, A Taste of the Tabor, when 207 continues.
Welcome back to the 207 Kitchen. For 25 years, Ellen Barnes and her husband owned and operated a windjammer on the Maine coast, the Stephen Tabor, so you can take anything that we throw at you here in the 207 Kitchen. We're not moving, we're not shifting. Everything's going to be a piece of cake. Nice to have you here, Ellen. It's a real pleasure.
Nice to be here.
You have a cookbook, The Taste of the Tabor, and you're going to make a recipe for us that's out of the cookbook. Is that right?
Not yet, but it will be the next edition.
It will be in the next edition. Well, what are you going to make for us?
I'm going to make a paella, which is a Spanish peasant dish, but I'm going to make it in Maine, and I call it a paella.
A paella.
And it's got all Maine seafood in it.
It's a lobster paella. That's
Correct.
your version, right? All right,
Correct.
let's get started. Where do we begin with the lobster paella?
Well, we begin just getting the things prepared. So I'm going to show you how to very quickly do a garlic. It takes 1/4 cup of garlic, so that's about 6 or 7 of these, but I'm going to show you 2.
You keep working, and I'm just going to mention
and you just
his background.
bash it. This is great.
I'm just going to mention that you did the cooking on the windjammer, so you used to make 20 meals a week for yourself, the crew, and the guests who were coming all in a small galley.
That is correct.
Rocking out on Penobscot Bay.
That is
as
correct.
I said, you can handle anything that we throw at you.
I certainly can. Now, this dish it's similar to doing a stir fry. Anybody can do it, but you got to get all your stuff prepared ahead of time. So when you have a big bunch of guests for company or something like that, you can cook this right in front of them.
How long does this take from start to finish?
Well, it takes 20 minutes to cook in the pot, in the pan, but probably another half an hour to prepare all your stuff. This is the schooner way of cutting an onion.
What's the schooner way?
Easy and fast.
Oh, okay.
We do probably 20 onions at a time.
You don't worry about getting them too finely diced. It doesn't have to look like something Julia Child did.
Well, she does this too.
Oh, okay.
And this is, remember, this is a peasant dish, so we don't worry about how finely chopped.
So people shouldn't get freaked out, intimidated by the name. They say, oh, I don't even know how to pronounce paella when I see it on your menu, but it's peasant cooking, right?
Right.
Okay.
This is chorizo sausage. You can get this at your grocery store. So I brought the package so you can see that it's a package that everybody has. And
that's a traditional Spanish sausage?
It's actually Portuguese, but the Spanish use it as well. And
wandered across the border.
Correct. And you just cut that up. All of these things are very, very broadly cut up. Bite-sized pieces, no knives, just a spoon or a fork, and this can be eaten. Okay, that's your chorizo sausage. Chicken, I'm going to take my 2 hours ahead of time. You're going to take a chicken breast, take all the fat off, because I just like to take all the fat off, and cut it up into bite-sized pieces and marinate it in some paprika, some olive oil, and some salt. Put it in your refrigerator in a Ziploc bag. Throw that Ziploc bag around, stuff it in your refrigerator, and forget about it until you're ready to cook, okay? So that's, you cut up your chicken. This is a little pork loin. Again, use a little pork loin. Do the same thing. Throw it in the bag with the chicken so that it gets marinated and it's beautiful. So that's that. Also, ahead of time, you're going to cook up your lobster, okay?
Just a boiled lobster,
you're going to boil,
fancy?
Nothing fancy. Steam up your lobster just the way everybody in Maine knows how to do it. And you take it out of the pot, you crack it open, cut your lobster meat, put that aside.
Everything, claws and tail and body, everything goes in?
Take the shells, cover them back up with water, cook them for 2 hours, cook that for 2 hours, cook that down, and that's the water that you're going to use in this recipe will be the water from the lobster shells. Okay.
All right, we need to keep moving along. We've got about 1.5 minutes left, Ellen.
Well, you just start adding things to the pot. The things that have to be cooked the longest, the chicken, the pork, first, just like a stir fry. You add that to the pot. Then you do your onions and your garlic. Add that to the pot. Then you put in your seafood, scallops, shrimp. And then finally your lobster, some tomatoes, some mussels, some water to cook everything up.
And you just pretty much leave it alone?
Throw in some rice, and the key is saffron. Saffron is very little saffron in Spanish food. Makes it taste delicious and turns everything that lovely color of red. Okay? And there you go. There's your paella.
This is terrific, and it's, you know, it's a nice, colorful dish. You don't need to put anything on in the way of garnish because you got a nice, colorful meal right there.
Exactly, and it takes about 20 minutes on the stove.
On the stove. All right, if you want more information on the recipe, very simple. Just go to our website, WCSH6.com. Click on the 207 icon. We should mention, not only did you cook for 25 years on a windjammer, but you have an inn now. You're not exactly the retiring type, are you? You and your husband own an inn in Rockland.
We have the Captain Lindsey House Inn in Rockland. Come see me at the Captain Lindsey House Inn. 9 gorgeous rooms. And on the 28th of this month, I'll be cooking at the same thing, only start to finish, at the Penobscot Marine Museum.
I wasn't kidding when I said you're not the retiring type. Thank you, Ellen, for coming in. We appreciate
thanks for having me.
Again, you want the recipe, just go to the website, click on the 207 icon, and we'll be back with more of 207 right after this.
Okay, before we get to the next segment, I just have to say, Ellen was a trip.
She's a hoot.
Making that paella.
Yeah.
We don't have to, she is not the retiring type you are. Understatement of the century.
She brings her own spice in the form of her personality.